I'm Joyce Taylor, and this is King 5 News at noon.
There is a house on 530 and a big slide.
Just into the King 5 newsroom, one of the very first 911 calls from Saturday's massive landslide. You know, my son came home the other day. His window is broken in his car, and it's tinted dark. He's 17. He's 200 pounds. Mom, I need this window to be fixed because if I get stopped by the police and he's a new driver, I'm going to have to open my door.
Well, it's almost like you're here with me, I hope. A little bit bumpy on the way down.
Hey, good morning. Happy Blue Wednesday, guys. You know, it's hard to believe. Can you believe it's been 16 weeks now since the Seahawks won it all, and now here we are, here at the White House. I am so honored to be here because it's such a big day, such an important day for these students who, as you know, they've been out of school for a week, more than a week now, and this is the first time they're going to be back into this building, back into these classes since that tragic day when many of them lost some of their closest friends. We're going to be here to support them. We're going to be talking with some of the adults that have been so significant in their lives for the past week, who've been there really in the trenches as they've been going through some of the trauma of dealing with what they've seen over the past week and just trying to cope. Now, the tragedy here at Marysville Hillchuck High School, it made us all sort of stop and assess how we're communicating with our kids, how much we're plugged in or really not plugged into what they're doing on social media, what they're doing with their friends. How much stress are they really under, and do we know how they're feeling? So we had this town hall meeting, and I was able to talk to a group of kids from all around the region, from 4 different counties, and ask them all kinds of questions. One of the questions I asked them was, if I was your parent and you could tell me anything about what we could do to better understand you, what would you say? And it was an eye-opener. Listen, what would you want to say to your parents if you really wanted them to understand you? What would you tell me? It could be anything about anything. What?
To choose your words correctly, because sometimes words from a parent hurt more than anyone else.
Yeah.
For instance, I have a friend who's anorexic, and because her dad told her she was too fat. So she's getting better, but parents' words hurt too.
When your son or daughter comes to talk to you about a problem they're having, instead of like yelling at them and scolding them, you try to help them. I know a lot of parents who kind of get mad if you do something wrong, and they don't really try to help you with it, so I think that's something that parents really need to work on.
It started very early here. Fans started lining up in the bitter cold. Temperatures around 10 degrees. It's warmed up now to about 13 degrees. But I have to tell you, Mark and Mimi, I have never seen so many police officers in such tight security personally in my life. At every corner of the Prudential Center, you see officers, you see state police, vehicles, you hear the helicopters above me. Security is super tight. You see bomb-sniffing dogs. They are everywhere. So people are feeling pretty safe. You know, the teams aren't here yet. The Broncos arrive at about 10:30. The Seahawks will arrive at about 12:30, 12:45. And inside, it is beautiful. They have podiums set up where the players are going to be taking center stage and answering a bunch of questions. And the fans are pumped. They're already dressed in their gear. They're going inside. And we talked to just a few, and they are super excited. Listen.
And I noticed you don't have a jacket on. It's 12 degrees.
Well, we wanted to show off the jersey, so, you know, we don't care.
Go Seahawks.
Yep, we don't care.
This is the little goodie bag that every single person who walks in, we're talking 8,000 people, are going to get. This is the swag. But I think the coolest little thing inside is this little number. This is a transistor radio. So this means you just plug in your earphones, and every single person who's packed up in the stands, because they can't get super close to the players, they're going to be able to hear what the players are saying. So as the press is firing away all those questions, they can just tune into the various podiums and hear what their favorite players are saying.
Okay, hi guys! Look who's here. So are you guys here from Seattle?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, so how long have you been here?
We've been here since Wednesday.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days. What do you think of Super Bowl Boulevard?
It's awesome, and it's cold.
Tell me your names.
Don?
I'm Kat. I know, it's cold. 17 degrees with the wind chill. It's about 12.
Yeah.
You're bundled up for the weather. Okay, so
yeah.
you guys, this is the main attraction. This is the Super Bowl toboggan ride. It opens up at about 12. I have to tell you, I took a ride on it, and the view from the top, let's take a ride. It is unbelievable.
Is it pretty fast?
Wow. Look at that view.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Go.
A little bit bumpy on the way down. I have to say, thank goodness I had some cushion as I took the ride down. They're going to be able to get about 1,000 people on the toboggan an hour. The line about 2 hours long, but people didn't mind waiting out in the cold. It opens up at about noon, so you're going to be able to take a ride on it. And there are lots of other attractions here. There's going to be the field goal kick, and there are all kinds of things, free food, free ice cream, just in case you're not cold enough. I hope you guys are going to the game.
Yes, we are.
Sweet,
We'll be there.
Sweet, you're so lucky. So you're among about 400,000 people who are in town for the Super Bowl. Have fun, you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, good to see
too.
you. I will. High five.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. And we're going to have a lot more coming up of some of the activities. 13 blocks from Herald Square to Times Square. The party is just getting underway here in New York City, guys.
Carlo East, the Hawk's Nest here in New York City. And it didn't just happen overnight just because of this fantastic season. This actually started a few years back, and one of the reasons is this guy right here. Scott, tell us why this is the Hawks' home away from home.
Yeah, we had gone to several bars in the past, and no bar really treated us like we were belong. They wouldn't show the game on, wouldn't put the audio on. So we met with Pat, one of the bartenders here, and we just started talking. They promised to take such good care of us, and we started coming here. It was only 15, 20 of us at the time, and it's just been growing and growing. Where I understand now there's people outside the door just waiting to get in.
Now on game day, you cannot even get in here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. And you come from Los Angeles to hook up with your buddy here, along with these other 12s who've joined us today. So you know what it's like to be here. You've come for the Super Bowl. The 12s are alive and well here, right?
That's right. They are, and they're alive and well everywhere. I mean, down in Los Angeles, we have a Seahawks bar down there. It's crowded every single Sunday, just overflowing with Seahawks fans. It's just great to see the energy and the support for the team all across the country.
Well, it's great because it's fun. It's fun to know that there's a Hawks home away from home. This has been going on for 6 years now, this Hawks Nest, right in the middle of New York City, which is kind of crazy. People have been walking by. You can see the signs up everywhere. And it's kind of cool to know that you, a transplant, moved all the way here, and now you've actually moved back home.
I have, yeah, it's great. But I will say, when there's road games, I miss this place. I see my friends posting pictures from here, and it makes me a little nostalgic to want to come back. But then I realize that I'm in the middle of all the Seahawk mania, which is pretty awesome. But this place will always be my Seahawks bar, no matter where I go.
Well,
this is the place.
I was talking to Sean Spratt, who owns this place, a complete convert, a total 12 now. So I think now this is going to always be a Hawks Nest in New York. Back to you guys.
The school says his same-sex marriage is against church doctrine.
She said that it was just something that was against the magisterium of the church, and that unfortunately they were going to have to let me go.
You're a practicing Catholic.
I am.
Do you feel you were doing anything wrong?
My faith is very important to me, and so to me, I don't feel like I did anything wrong against the Catholic Church.
Zamuda says he's a private person. He kept his personal and professional life separate, but he wasn't keeping any secrets.
You weren't hiding that you were married?
Nope. I had a ring on when they hired me from the very first day.
How did she find out, Sister Mary, that you were married?
Again, several teachers came to her to talk about it.
That had to hurt.
It does. Again, like I said, we all have our own beliefs. This may have been an issue for them that was very important. This was an issue for me that was none of their business.
Zamuda didn't think he'd lose his job, and he never expected what followed. Students rising up and fighting to bring him back. So when you see these protests bubbling up across the country, Seattle, California, Ferguson, and New York City, there seems to be a disconnect in what people are protesting and in people really understanding the deeper issues of what people are upset about.
Right.
Define it for us.
Right. It's complex. There's a lot of factors going on. First, one thing that's an important point to note is that the protesters are from a broad array of racial and ethnic groups across the United States. So this just isn't a black thing.
There are thousands of really great police officers,
yes,
men and women
right,
on forces across the country. And there are some bad cops.
Right.
And we have not heard any police department across the country come up and say, yeah, there is a problem with racism within our ranks.
Right.
It seems to me that part of the problem might be that we have not had an admission of accountability within any department to start the conversation that there's a problem.
Right. And I think that when we come at it and say these cops are racist, then people want to shut down. And I don't even, I think what we need to understand is it's much more complex than that.
And this was the conclusion. Black boys as young as 10 may not be viewed in the same light of childhood innocence as their white peers, but are instead more likely to be mistaken as older, be perceived as guilty, and face police violence if accused of a crime. And this is why I have this conversation with my son, and I have since he was very young, of how to behave around police. He's 17 now, and my co-anchor has a 17-year-old. But if they're out at the same place doing the same kind of thing, I know that, or I fear my son, who's 200 pounds, bigger than my co-anchor son, he might be perceived as guilty, might be perceived as older, and the research bears that out, right?
Right. And this implicit bias, this is what has led to the negative interactions between the police and the African American community and the men that were killed.
And I'm Joyce Taylor here at the White House. So Paul Sylvie just talked to a couple of the players, Jermaine Kearse and Bobby Wagner. They're excited to meet with the president. We're going to have that for you on this Blue Wednesday, May 21st. I mean, don't you guys think it's about time that the Seahawks get to take part in this American tradition, right? Well, you know, they have been all over social media, so I've been looking at Twitter. So Richard Sherman, yesterday, he posted, landed safely in D.C., excited to visit the White House with the whole team. Russell Wilson says, I can't wait to go to the White House tomorrow with my amazing Seahawks teammates. You get out what you put in, no time to sleep. It was a game that we're never going to forget, ever, as long as we live. And as I told you many times, I was able to be on the field. I was so lucky as part of my job to be on the field at MetLife Stadium. And pictures I've never really shown you before from my cell phone I wanted to share with you today. The moments right after they won the Super Bowl. Take a look. Do you have a message for the 12th man back home in Seattle?
Go Seahawks. We're number one. We're number one right now. Let's go.
I can't wait to be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Parade on Wednesday. Let's go, 12th man.
Big thank you to the 12th man for all year. Y'all great. Y'all the best in the world.
We won the Super Bowl for y'all.
Go Hawks.
You got me.
I got to hold it.
I hope so.
There you go. Get it, Russ. Take it, Russ. Come on, B.
Take it, Russ.
I felt like I was in a mosh pit in there, right? Pushing in there with the crowd, trying to get my hands on that Lombardi trophy, but it was so exciting. The one thing people asked me when I came back, did you get any of the confetti? And I forgot to get some of the confetti, but it was so exciting to be part of that, so we thought we'd relive the dream today.